Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. We are on the last 4 sets of pencils to color in 4 feathers. The first day we colored 2 feathers instead of 3, so we will be doing a makeup day for that. So that will not be today. This is the Daily Color in Small Victories, this special Thanksgiving week project where I color these feathers using 12 sets of pencils. So we're on episode 323. 323 uses 3 sets, and the Artisto is the first set we will work on today. It is a 72 set. The biggest standout colors that don't have a good match would be the magenta did not have a good magenta. The green, the light green is a little bright. And I think that's it. The teal is a little on the blue side. Other than that, the other colors matched really well. Castle Art's gold all matched really well. It has a slightly darker magenta. And then all the other colors are good. The Color tube version, very vibrant colors. I believe just looking across here at the whole range, the Color appears to be the most vibrant, as well as the Spearfarben. Historically, I have found the Spearfarbens to be very vibrant as well. And then I think the Holbeins would be vibrant, but looking across, I only own 90 of them, so my burgundy isn't a very good match. It's quite dark. So other than that, that might be the third brightest set. Arteza isn't bad. Not bad at all, actually. Vibrancy-wise, that's probably equal to the Holbeins. So I am trying to keep some statistics as I go, and then I will fill in some gaps so that when I do episode 324, we will have some time for a wrap-up. So I'll have that episode be coloring the Barrel Prismacolor, which is a 1986 version of the Prismas. I'm going to have it do a smaller feather. So today, the Artisto, which is the smaller set that has a couple of colors that are off, that is going to be a small feather. And the Barrel on the last day will be a smaller feather. And I'm going to pick, there's a wonderful, very large feather, and I think I might do the Castle Arts Gold. I want to stress that a little bit because there is one aspect of them that I want to test to see if I can make it happen and to see how hard it would be to make that happen. So here is my set of feathers I have left. I am going to bring down my stand much closer, and I think we're good. I already have the first 3 colors in the Artistos. These ranked very well with Coloring Bliss, and purely because of the Coloring Bliss review, I had to jump out and buy them, and I believe I paid under $20 with a coupon. I got a really good deal. So these are fantastic. The colors aren't quite perfect, but let's just see how well they do matched up against everyone else. Our 3 colors are Yellow Ochre, A316, Orange Red A318, Magenta A343. I will have all of the colors for all 3 up in the description. I am going to challenge myself. Somebody has to be this small feather with my spine clip nearby. So I am going to go ahead and let this set be the winner of being this undesirable feather. I still think that it will do a fantastic job. It'll just be me struggling with where to place my hand. I'm going to start with the burgundy on my first blend. It'll be interesting. I might make it a little more complicated. I'm going to have to change already my positioning because I have to look at the feather from not behind the ring. I am pretty close. So let's just see how this works. I am going to play around with this section. And not the whole section will be these colors. I am starting with a light layer. These are a pretty beefy core. And they rated okay on copy paper. No, I think they rated a plus. Okay is when I wasn't very excited. And so I can feel it. I rated them an okay on the copy paper, and they feel just kind of okay on this soft paper. They feel, oh golly, a tiny bit resistant, maybe? I'm trying to think of like the wording to use for how they feel. It's kind of almost a meh, not like really cool. It doesn't make me go, oh my gosh, these feel awesome. So we're gonna do some fun blending here. We've got these fun dots to work on. We've got some complicated bits to work with. Let's see, I'm trying to see what kind of fun pattern I can come up with. Now, keep in mind, as I have said many times before, every one of my pencils, I did not buy any reject pencils. They've all been vetted. They've all been purchased after watching reviews. So I never bought any reject pencils out of just a challenge of wanting to see if I could make them do something. I wanted all of my pencils to be good pencils, well reputed. I'm not necessarily into light fast because I already had my professional pencils, which the professional pencils for round 5, aside from the Prismacolor and the Holbeins, had already been used. So I already owned those. So now that I'm working on some good budget pencils to be able to have on my channel, I now have a very nice, well-rounded selection, I believe. And so I am very happy with the ones that I own. I think the number of sets that I own are plenty to keep me happy. I would like to own bigger sets of the ones that I own. I should probably come up with a summary list of what I would like to change about my stable of pencils. Which ones do I want to have maybe more backups of that I don't have per se any backups of? Which ones for my coloring group do I already have small sets of? And which ones would I like to maybe have either the duplicate or a small set for them to be able to test out? As I get to know my coloring group people, some of the coloring people are like more involved with me. I know them in the community through other avenues. Some I've known my entire time here. I've been here since 2021, and so the folks that I know the most are the ones that I've kind of built the biggest rapport, and I would go out of my way and have gone out of my way to encourage them to color and loaned them supplies as needed, given them extra supplies, and so I have no problem with that. This blend is coming out really fun. This whole big space needed something extra special, and I kind of enjoy not necessarily coloring in the lines, so to speak. And they're becoming nice and vibrant. My first layer actually was pretty vibrant as it was. So that was very, very nice. The feeling of them on the paper isn't really all that exciting, but the output that I am getting from them is very nice. I'm gonna, nope, that did not work, did it? I have the ability to do some rotation here. There we go. So that you have a better view of that feather. Just like that. And these blend together pretty fantastic. All right, so that's that section. Moving on to blend number 2, my arm of my stand. I'm going to move my pencils back. Uh-oh, did I forget a color? I perhaps need to pause everything and go find a teal, because I don't have a teal for my next teal blue to purple blend. So I'm going to have to come right back. I am back. I had put my pencil, even though I had colored in the block on my chart, I had put it back. Silly me. Azure blue was the color. It is 352. We have Persian blue 349 and royal purple 305. They're pretty easily legible, but I do not understand why make the name in cursive. I love the block letters. Very nice block letters. Of course, metallic is not the easiest to read overall, but I am pretty happy with what they came up with. And then let's figure out what part of the feather. I'm probably going to have more than one section be this. Probably going to have to be this right here. This particular set has the unfortunate situation of being along the spine, so they're a little noisier, but there's this gap where when I'm coloring it pushes on the spine and there's a little bit of sound that I don't think would normally be there. So I am not counting that sound against these sets that are working along the spine. It is just their bad luck of the draw. These are a hexagonal barrel. The only different shaped barrel in the bunch of the 12 that I am working with. From my perspective, hexagonals are typically watercolor pencils. I own squares, of course, and used to own a triangular shaped set as well, but most of my sets are all round. Coming back in with the blue. Making sure the tooth is filled in. Right now I am wearing glasses, craft glasses. My eyes have been bothering me. All right, so we have some segments here. Four of them. Going with medium pressure, this teal doesn't appear to be wanting to fill in the tooth. With light pressure, oops, and I just went over that circle. So a little bit heavier pressure required. I did not have to use heavier pressure on the blue and the purple. Nice and vibrant. Bringing out the greens next. There's only two, and the other difference with the Artisto is that the green is awfully bright, the light green, and then the dark green is not as dark. So here you can see this is the dark green. I should show you. Basil green, A322. Pistachio green, A319. That's it for the greens, and then we have our brown blend. And again, all of these are typically pretty jewel toned, except for that light green was kind of light. So these three browns are not necessarily light, medium, dark. They are, the tan is a little bit on the light side, caramel A334. And then the orangey rust color is cinnamon A337, and the dark brown is dark ash 353. Oop, that tip. So this tip might have fallen. Yeah, this tip is broken, but I think it had a fall. So I'm going to sharpen it up. Sadly, when a pencil falls at my house, my entire house is all tile, ceramic tile floors. So it's rather a tough fall for any of them. And if they land on their tips or on the side, they do have a high probability of breaking the tips off. But I have not ever had one, when I go to resharpen it, I have not had one be damaged in the core, in the wood where it kept breaking repeatedly. I am going to grab a couple of brights, like I've done on other feathers. I feel that there isn't as much. Now, this is supposed to be magenta, but it's really more like fuchsia. Let's darken up that pink. All right, that feather is done. I had to leave a tiny bit of white. Rotating to the next one. We are going to do Castle Arts, I think is the one I said I was going to do the large feather with. And there is a reason for that. You may have noticed my notes, and maybe not. Here is the blend for the yellow, orange, burgundy. Yeah, you can pick a color that is called magenta. So cadmium yellow, number 7. This is a little bit more difficult just because the number is on a shiny end. The blue is nice. It's like a satin, matte to satin finish. But the dipped ends are glossy, so I'm seeing a lot of reflection trying to read the color number. So I have to roll it. So cadmium yellow is 7, cadmium orange deep 79, and magenta 86. My feather I promised I was going to do is this giant feather. So this will be interesting to see how it is that I decide to tackle it. I'm going to go up a little bit and move out. I'm going to grab some spaces and decide what's going to be burgundy. And we can talk a little bit about these and why I am wanting to test them. So I have, let's see, what number is this set? This is actually number 10, but I had already worked with the barrels, which is number 12. So this is one away from the last set that I worked with. And when I opened up the case, this particular set, okay, and that sneeze is interesting. So the very first thing I noticed with these, which I know other people have commented on, and I don't know that I noticed it before, but when I opened the case, I noticed a smell. It wasn't an unpleasant smell. So I took a nice big whiff of these pencils, and it appears as though, to me, somewhat guessing here, that they've been scented, like the pigment. It has a little bit of the wood smell, which when I smelled all of the other sets, most it emitted a minimal, very, very faint, like a wood or wood and paint smell. These are the only ones that had a distinct sort of scented wax smell on top of the wood smell. Not unpleasant, but you'll do notice I did just sneeze. So I thought that was interesting. We'll be coloring with these for quite a bit of time with this big feather. So I will be able to see if I am further affected by the smell. I am a smell adverse person. I don't like any scented like lotions or soaps. Everything needs to be scent free for me. So I thought that that was very interesting because I've used these pencils on all sorts of projects quite extensively. So it will be interesting to me to see if there's another sneeze involved. And if the smell, because I can smell it now that it's like once you see something, you can't unsee it. That's kind of how it is. Oh, I think I wanted the middle of that feather to be not colored. So I was very soft with my burgundy here in the middle. And I'm going to come back through with another layer. These are an oil-based pencil. They should be able to do light layers nicely. And they are. Kind of playing around with some different little patterns and ways of blending to test things out. I'm definitely sniffly. I'm not 100% sure that the cause of the sniffling is from these pencils, but I suspect it is. And the smell is actually very pleasant. I just am a smell adverse person. My nose would prefer no smells be involved. All right, so that's a fun blend. I hope that everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. And anybody traveling, everything worked out great. Our neighbors have their I think it's the youngest son from Oregon and his wife. She hasn't been here in person in many years. So I hope they are having a grand time. So blends are doing well with all of the pencils. What I'm going to do is analyze them. After I'm all done, I'm going to evaluate each one and do a little bit of a grade on how well I think they blended. I plan to do some sort of basic math. It's, of course, somewhat subjective. Okay. How many ways can I blend a feather? How many interesting changes can I make? Multiple repeats. I will tell you an interesting observation about the Castle Arts. They're from Canada, I believe, is their place they're manufactured, or they might be made in China, but their main distributor is Canadian. They are often resold. So their marketing is very, very prominent. They're out there. They're doing, like, I am one of their Castle members, and so I get these the Black Friday sales for the U.S. Thanksgiving. That's very beautiful. And so I'm going to put these away and grab the green to purple. My nose is still sniffly. This was the test. I was going to use the big feather to see how long it would take and if my nose was affected by using these, and it is. So if you are sensitive to smells, these pencils you will want to be careful with. Oh, another very interesting observation. When I detected the smell, confirmed the smell, the very first set I brought out of the 12 was the Harmonious, which is also Castle Arts. No smell. None. Okay, three teal, blue, purple. Very beautiful blend so far with every set. Cobalt turquoise green, 101. Cobalt deep, blue deep, 95. And purple lake deep, 38. The Harmonious have minimal to zero smell. I have not tested all Castle Arts pencils to see if the smell factor affects more than just these. Let's get some more purple going. There's a substantial diameter barrel, a little bit bigger than normal, not as chunky as, say, a Holbein or a Polychromos. And the core is biggish. I haven't measured, but it looks like it's a 3.5 to 3.8, I believe, without having any measurements around. Trying trying to decide what else would like to be purple. This would be very pretty. We're moving on to the blue. Making this blend a little more flicking, a flicking lengthy blend. A little bit on the noisy side. The other reason for using these for a longer period of time, besides smell, is their history with me of crumbling, making crumbs. They're very crummy, and I have seen no crumbs yet. I am a light layering person, which might be why I'm not seeing a lot of crumbs. But I have played with these before and done projects and seen crumbs. But I see none yet. Doing just a fun little weird blend here. Grabbing the middle blue. I do need to keep moving along because I do have a third feather to do. The color will be a smaller feather. Again, those are the fastest pencil that I own. These are going to be taking a little build up. I can see you can see that there's some tooth showing. Let's see how I graded these. I know these felt really good on the copy paper because I have another set. Yes, these got a plus plus. There are only 2 sets that when I did my copy paper swatch, the Erogetin and these felt really nice on the copy paper. I already knew that the Erogetins would be nice because of my experience doing my Fall Dragon. I ended up laying in bed doing a mock-up and it turned into the final version on copy paper. It was just so pleasant. So I just kept going. Kept on going. Sharpening that teal. Now what's interesting is these pencils, when they go down, I feel like I need to sharpen them. Other sets I did not feel that way, and I think I mentioned it. So I feel now I'm getting a level of wax pigment down in the tooth. So the tooth is all filled in, and when I'm applying more color, it's just spinning around like it's ice skating on top, and it's not adding any more color. Now this one, they're not filled in, but over here, there's no more tooth, and I'm not getting any more of the teal down showing the way I would like. So from that perspective of layering, adding more layers, there is a limit to my layering, and any other pencils, I haven't really felt that with those, which is interesting. Going to my next layers with the purple. Yeah, see, I'm mushing around and I'm not seeing it get any darker anymore, and I can feel it has saturated and done everything it can do, and it's done. Now I'm adding medium heavy pressure because it's just skating along. I have to really color with a purpose. So these would hurt my hands, I think, over time, to try to get the vibrancy. This is taking heavy pressure to really get this down, and I can hear it. So not as pleasant an experience. Oh, and now I finally did it. So that's how long it took. We have crumbs. It is typically the dark colors, too, that crumb. And that was the blue. And I am still smelling the smell. Oh, I have to go back to the blue. This will be good. So I have blue going in with heavy pressure. Okay, didn't get any crumbs there. I just have a little bit more purple here. And then we'll move on. We've got green and brown. And how are we doing? Oh, we are not going to have time. But you know what? I have one more episode, and it is going to be a wrap-up. So it'll just eat into the wrap-up. I have 2 small feathers to do, and I'm okay with that. I knew it was going to take as many episodes as it was going to take to finish up. I'm going to be calling that combo done. I have to make a note. I don't want to forget that it was crumbs. So when it burnished, it kind of did a waxy. It was all done, and it would not put any more color on. It was done, and I have not experienced that with the others. Moving on to the 2 greens. We have Hooker's Green is the Dark and Cadmium Green Pale 112, Hooker's Green 54. Definitely stuffy. Typically not stuffy. That's not my thing to be stuffy. Okay, I'm going to move a little bit. For this, I always like the stem. I keep calling it a stem. Near the center of the feather, we will say. To be dark. It helps give it the appearance of curvature. And then I'm going to do a little bit here, ignoring the zigzags. All right, so I see tooth. We see tooth. We've done our single layer. It has been a fairly light layer. I'm going to now add the lightest color. It's just two color blend. This is actually technically now a second layer. And let's get a little bit more dark. Heavy pressure, definitely brightening up. All right. I'm going to soften that up with heavy pressure of this light green. More pressure than I've had to put on any of the sets. All right. Gonna get the browns. 3 of them. And they are, again, all kind of darkish. No, it's hard to tell. The barrels on these can sometimes be wonky. The earth green is awfully dark for what it is. It is actually the lightest color. Notice I put it at the opposite end where I normally would put the dark. Redwood is actually a rusty orange. Van Dyke brown is a very dark brown, and the earth green is supposed to be like a tan. So let's see what we get. I am going to start with what I know is the darkest color, and that's Van Dyke brown. I should sharpen this because these feathers are very thin. The feather tendrils. I'm going to go ahead and make the scallop also brown. The redwood 197 is the rusty cinnamon color. So even though I am being judgy on this particular set, they're still a very nice pencil. Very, very nice. But they have some behaviors that aren't perfect. And that's why we're doing these head-to-head comparisons where I can just see and feel the difference right off the bat. Now here's supposed to be the lightest color. Earth green. Let's just see. Yep, that is the lightest color, and the barrel was the darkest. And you see, even though I had some issues, I had my crumbs, it was smelly. It's like the whole package, the whole experience of the coloring. And then in the end, it's just a beautiful feather. Fantastic, bright, vibrant, all of those good things. So that is the end of our time. We're at 51 minutes. I went way over on that feather, but I gave them a really long college try, as I will say. So do all of the YouTube things, like, share, comment, consider subscribing. I will be back for the next episode. Tomorrow we'll be finishing up the Color, the 120 set in the tube, and the Barrel Prismacolors circa 1986. And I hope you will join me for one last batch of feathers. We will be doing these two feathers right here. They will both be, well, this one's not that small. This one's going to be the Color, and that will be the barrels. And we will see you then.